A couple days ago, New York unveiled its latest endeavor that was meant to be the next wonder of the world. It was a portal to Ireland, and that word is being used very loosely. Really, it was just a giant Zoom call on a portal-shaped screen where one side was in New York and the other in Ireland. It was just a novel idea and seemed harmless on paper, but I think the first sign that this was ultimately going to fail was their choice in venue. When you combine Irish whiskey with the mean streets of Manhattan, it was only a matter of time before a couple of ne'er-do-wells brought in degeneracy into the mix.
The project meant to bridge a gap between two continents is now causing some problems.
There's a portal to another dimension in the Flatiron District, except that dimension is Ireland and that portal is more like a live stream.
I had no idea this was an ongoing project. It really flew under the radar except for those in Manhattan and Dublin. I guess they just expected everybody to act like NPCs or upstanding citizens. Which again, their choice in location should have been the first sign that this would ultimately fail. You would think somebody would have stepped in and said, wait! Maybe we should reevaluate things and examine all possible outcomes. Because the whole gimmick behind it relied on faith in humanity. This was only ever going to end in one of three ways. With a dick, some tits, or a full moon. And surprisingly, we ended up in the titty timeline. The initial response of joy must have been some close friends of this Neanderthal, because it's just dead silence from everyone else. Now, while not much happened vocally, visually, there's a lot to unpack. We live in a day and age where we can get so many angles to a scene, and my god, what an absolute catastrophe. Immediately, you'll notice the second she popped out her honkers, two New Yorkers pulled out their phones, to which I presume involved them taking pics or videos. She puts on a whole song and dance for Ireland, to which they respond with disgust. I think this lady's reaction sums it up. You could tell from the look on her face. She knew. This ride was over. Now, in the full video, she eventually puts her shirt down after getting no response from Ireland. Let that sink in for a moment. If Ireland, home of alcoholism, violence, thrill for potatoes, and Jacksepticeye, finds your act distasteful, that's how you know you fucked up. After she sadly puts her shirt down, the video ends. I guess she was expecting them to go crazy like Cowboy fans if their team ever wins the Super Bowl, but got legit crickets. Again, I never thought Ireland would somehow be more civil than New York, but I guess we really are just living in crazy times. She got some attention from New York, but it was mainly just her friends and other Neanderthals who got a kick out of some tits. Ireland, however, they didn't give a shit. Now, this did result in the portal being paused, which I think is just a friendly way of saying they're shutting it down. However, that wasn't the only incident. It was the main reason, but there were other factors that contributed to the portal's inevitable downfall.
This screen is a public art installation, one placed on the sidewalk of Manhattan and another in Dublin last week, funded by a private grant.
I think it's a really cool way to express human connection.
New Yorkers and Dubliners can watch each other live, waving, playing games, and even connecting with friends.
There were good intentions behind this project, but unfortunately that's not where we ended up. I truly admire their efforts in trying to create a unique way of connecting different parts of the world, but humanity's in a complicated position. We're living in a day and age of clout-obsessed losers who will do anything for the most minute attention online. Not to mention, our sense of humor is pretty f***ed up. Immediately, since day one, people started using it for purposes that weren't meant for its design. I can't verify this to be 100% true, but apparently the first incident recorded was a New Yorker showing Ireland a porn video. I don't know whether or not that's factual or not, but what I do know is true was Dublin responding by showing New York a video of 9/11. You know, people saw an opportunity to do some dumb shit and went full throttle, I guess. It's just one of those things that's deeply embedded into our brains. Obviously, this type of buffoonery has been going on long before the days of the internet, but with social media present, people aren't going to pass up on an opportunity to do stunts like this. I'm shocked the portal lasted as long as it did. It lasted for about a week before being paused. I don't know if they plan to reopen. I don't know how they'd reopen while preventing another titty flashing, but you can't undo what's been done. Now, I do want to make a brief side note and talk about the other possibilities, what could have happened if we did end up in the alternate timeline where Dublin instead tuned into the cock and balls show. I'm convinced the narrative would be far different. Imagine I was the instigator and decided to moon Ireland. I'd be going to jail. There'd be a warrant for my arrest almost instantly for sexually harassing two cities simultaneously. However, since it was boobies that were shown, it's being treated very differently, which I'm not trying to get all political about how we should be a proper society and if she can show her tits, then why can't I show my dick? It's nothing like that. It's just interesting and had to call attention to because it is a double standard and what that woman did is indecent exposure at the very least. Just an observation.
But it hasn't been all fun and games. In the short time we were there, someone was holding up a derogatory sign. And at 5 o'clock, the screen turned off.
I'm surprised it lasted this long, honestly.
Viral of people flashing the screen and holding up disturbing images, with culprits at both ends of the ocean.
I'd argue the installation did serve its overall purpose. It connected us in a way that's never been done before, showing us we're not so different. New York and Dublin are more alike than we thought because apparently we all shit the same. Now the woman responsible did respond and it turns out she's actually someone infamous from another stunt all the way back in 2020. She is the woman responsible for licking airplane toilet seats during the pandemic. Apparently it was supposed to be some kind of statement about COVID. I'm not really sure. I'm actually surprised she didn't go AWOL after that and confused as to why the media would open that can of worms, but her supposed reason for releasing the twins was to promote her OnlyFans. She's gone from assaulting toilets with her tongue to assaulting Ireland with her tits. She's gone on a little press tour claiming she's a hero and seems very pleased as she just blatantly harassed two cities simultaneously. She states, "Well, Dublin showed NYC the Twin Towers, so it was only fair I show them my Twin Towers to save the city from harassment." How she doesn't hear herself and grasp the irony of the situation is beyond comprehension, but she thinks it was a successful publicity stunt and claims she made 8,000 euros in new subscribers on her OnlyFans. Now I have to call BS on that statement. I find it very hard to believe she's made 8,000 euros in OnlyFans subscribers from Dublin because of this stunt. In the video, you can clearly see she doesn't promote anything that would tell the people in Dublin where to find her on OnlyFans. Just because you flashed your honkers doesn't mean suddenly Ireland's going to know who you are and where to find you. Not only that, as mentioned, nobody on the other end of the portal seems thrilled. Nobody in Ireland gives a that you showed your tits. The only logical reason I could even remotely think of that would drive some attention to her OnlyFans was this article that was written after the incident. Only then is her OnlyFans name drop, which would allow people to find it if they were somewhat interested. However, because it's the same article where she claims to have made 8,000 euros in new subscribers, that's why I don't believe it to be true. It really seems like it was nothing but some massive cope and a lie she made up to make herself seem important because she suffers from main character syndrome. She legit got nothing out of this, which is concerning. She should have at least been prosecuted because this is a crime and the media got her name, address, motive, Target gift card, all that, and it's being treated like she did nothing wrong. But anyways, that's pretty much where the story wraps up. Hopefully this incident doesn't discourage future endeavors from happening. Maybe the portal will reopen? I don't know. We'll see as time goes on. And that's really about it. So